and not any more questions. We have to proceed to the next speaker, who is Luke Villavicencio, if I pronounce it correctly. I don't know. Hello, Luke?
Hello, yep, you got it right.
Hello, Luke. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here on the symposium. And I reckon that Agustin discovered you on some of his trips to all over the world. Very welcome. So a short introduction for Luke. As I can read, a 19-year-old classically trained guitarist and new music composer currently studying at the State University of New York at Fredonia. You were born and raised in Long Island, New York. Luke went to St. Walker High School and he was taught guitar and composition privately. And you're now doing, sorry about this. You are now doing you are presenting your work here now, and you're one of the new members of the Fredonia Guitar Quartet, simplifying the understanding and composition of microtones with microtonal planes. This is now the debut research paper, and so on. Yeah, in regards to composition, his portfolio currently consists of a growing collection of guitar studies and solos, numerous small ensemble pieces, a microtonal rhapsody to go along with his research paper, and so on. Welcome, Luke, on this board, and please proceed to your speech. Hello, welcome.
Right. Thank you very much. So basically this paper is I went into it with the intention of simplifying the performance, the understanding, and the composition of microtones and Zen harmonics, because I started to research many things like the Ben Johnston string quartets, and I found that these all these accidentals that was being used in those pieces, they're not very sight readable for maybe a performer that not even that sight readable is necessary, but it requires a lot of study before performing, and to someone who maybe isn't very like fluent in microtonal performance, it can be very daunting. And so I wanted to create some way, or bring back some way that has been used to make this at least somewhat more simple. And so it came about when I was researching the Charles Ives piece, 3/4 tone pieces, which is between two pianos that are tuned a 1/4 tone apart. And he goes about this by not even including accidentals, and just simply just prefaces the piece by saying that they are at a microtonal interval. And so I found this interesting, and I looked into it more, and someone else who experimented with this was Alois Haba, who called it field shifting when you had two instruments on a different sort of microtonal plane, essentially. And so I figured that there weren't enough pieces that use this, and this Charles Ives really just touched the surface of this concept. And so basically I would like to draw a line between Haba's field shifting and microtonal plane shifting. Haba pretty much did this, but he still included accidentals, and I found that was, I mean, as just an introduction to the concept, it worked, but I figure it could be improved by just removing that completely. And so essentially the way I'm viewing it is we're transposing our 12-tone equally tempered scale, and detuning it at a microtonal interval on one instrument, and then having that instrument react with another instrument that's on a different plane, or on just a plane tuned relative to A440. And this can eliminate all these accidentals that can sort of busy up a page, or make it a bit daunting for a performer who's not familiar. And also you can do many things like create like a spatial relationship with these two detuned instruments. I actually have some visuals from my paper here, if I can share my screen. Here we go. And so this is just a quick excerpt from the Charles Ives piece, which, as you can see, there's just the regular sharps and naturals here. There's no wacky upside down 13s and whatnot. And it works really well. I've added these dotted lines just to show the microtonal scale that's being performed between these, and I think it was just a really great display of what you can do with this kind of thing. And here I have got a just a quick visualization how I was imagining this in my head, of say having something that has an A that's tuned to 470 hertz reacting with an instrument that has A tuned to 460 hertz, or any of these. This is a very small version of an infinite matrix of these planes. And here is the first four measures of my Microtonal Rhapsody number 1, called Degradation, where here, instead of having like a paragraph before saying how to set up the instruments, I simply just have the frequencies which each guitar is tuned relative to. And so this actually displays one of the compositional methods that I have been experimenting with this idea, which I'm calling degradation because of this piece, where you very specifically go and either take something as small as just a note, or a small motif, or even something longer, and then repeating it on an instrument that's on a lower tonal plane, and having that relationship ring over each other. And so it's displayed as a bit of an echo effect, but it's a bit more than an echo, of course. And this is one of the many different possibilities that someone could use in a microtonal piece that would use this method. And you can do many things like scale trading, like playing a microtonal scale just between these instruments, sort of similar to what Charles Ives did in that one excerpt. You can do clusters, and also like microtonal chords, like you can use a neutral third between these different instruments. And something that I found really interesting, that kind of helps maybe people who aren't so used to listening to microtonal music and Zen harmonic music, is taking say this sort of concept and changing microtonal planes, and then staying on one microtonal plane and not even having it interact with others. So you begin the piece. This is actually one of the main concepts of this piece, my Microtonal Rhapsody number 1, where it starts off with these mixing textures, and it has a lot of it at the beginning is still centered around A 440, and and then towards the middle of the piece, it completely shifts down to where the focus is on the third guitar, where it is 2/3 tone below A440, and it lingers for long enough that it kind of sort of sets in the ear as this is like where we're in tune now, even though we aren't on A440 anymore. And so I think that's a really cool concept to sort of experiment with. Um, and yeah, I really hope to continue to look into this. I would have brought with me a uh, some sort of audio, but I have yet to get this piece performed. So I will look into getting that performed, and of course I'll make that as available as I can for any of you guys that are interested. Um, but I really want to leave a lot of my time for discussion, because this is a learning experience for me. This is my first time doing something like this, so I would really love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, thank you very much, Luke. Listening to your speech, I thought of Giacinto Scelsi, because you said you often start from normal pitch, say A, and then the tone or grows organically into a microtonal version of it. And I find that a lot in the compositions of Scelsi. For instance, in Tricanti Sacri, where he starts really, just as you say, with one tone, and then he develops it like the piece grows organically from one tone into the next one. I don't know whether you know music of him, but this would be maybe interesting for you to listen to. I always say it from a singer side, because I know, of course, many pieces that are sung or work for vocal performance. So, are there any other questions?
Luke, do you mind to stop sharing the screen now?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And yeah, great. Yeah, I didn't prepare. So actually, can you tell us a little bit more about you didn't perform this piece yet? Did you try? How did you try yourself at home compositionally? Did you play guitars together? Did you get any observations on the resonances together that added to the theory? Are there anything in these processes? Because I do.
Yeah, actually,
when I write for a few guitars, because writing for a piano is a huge monster, or writing for 64 singing bowls like Soran was speaking now about. But yeah, just for guitars, especially when you're using so special resonances and frequencies. Are there anything you noticed, this extra bit that composers notice while we are working with the theory and with the plans?
Well, while I was composing this piece and working on this paper, I was doing a lot of like trials with my my fellow guitarists, and yeah, it was extremely interesting. Not only to see how these guitars that were detuned apart from each other reacted with each other, but also that's not the only the full instrumentation of the piece is actually 3 guitars and a bass clarinet and a viola. And so to have these instruments like a bass clarinet,
sorry, what was the last instrument?
Viola.
A viola.
Okay, thank you.
And so it was very interesting to see how these instruments that are deeply rooted in 12th tone equal temperament, and how they react with instruments that are now apart from that. and I actually included like a note above when it shifts focus down to the third guitar for the violist to shift as well, and I provide some pitches on the guitar to allow for the violist ear to help them out and get accustomed to the new microtonal plane that the piece is on. And so while I didn't have a lot of opportunities to perform specific parts of it, the parts that I did, it was really interesting. I actually removed a couple things. It was a lot of trial and error with working out how I wanted it to sound, and it's almost kind of difficult to describe, but I really hope to get it performed most likely next semester, and I'll definitely have the video be available.
Great. Just keep in touch. We don't have a lot of social media. We just have on Facebook. You're very welcome to send it there to our small community, or well, we're not too small community actually. Send it to the Ekmelic, or I'm sure we're going to be these days hanging around all together and interchanging impressions. Apropos, by the way, impressions. It's a shame it was too early for you. The talk about Ben Johnston's music by Manfred Stanke. He's really specialist. They were very good friends, and he, I believe, he's not here now. He would have loved to listen to your talk actually, and he would have. I'm sure he would have asked you also a few questions.
Yeah, I would love to answer that.
Yeah, but in a few days, I don't know when exactly, but the video of his presentation this morning in Austria, will be available at the Ekmelic YouTube channel. So might be useful for you. Yeah, it's
right.
It's great.
Sorry, Luke, did I get that right? That your piece, you still writing on it, or have you plans when to perform it?
Well, I actually completed it about a month ago, and so
Okay.
it's much easier. I go away for college, so it's much easier to get it performed while I'm there. So I'm waiting till next semester to line everything up and have it performed.
Okay. Yeah. So I wish you good luck, and
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
And do you know the Microtonal group more or less in New York? Do you have any Microtonal contacts there?
I have not been. No, I'm not sure. I would have to really look into that. This is somewhat new to me. I've been researching this for a little over a year, and so this is I have yet to get myself into those circles. So hopefully I will find myself a branch of the Ekmelic Society here.
Yes, there's a lot of American microtonalists this year at the symposium. I think it's the more dominant culture this year. We have Richard Cameron Wolf. He used to live in New York. He was very connected to John Eaton. And then William Anderson also is having a premiere. He's teaching at Queen's College. He's having a premiere tomorrow, Quarter Tones. Jonathan Doe, he's teaching at Juilliard. He's also presented chromata ideas and some microtonal ideas. I don't remember right now, but he's
Johnny Reinhardt. He used to be in New York, no?
Yes. He was the founder of Tonight. Yes, of course. Now he lives in California, but he used to live in New York, and he founded the American Festival of Microtonal Music in the 80s. And of course, John Schneider, he also lives now in California, and he's the director of Microtonal Festival, Mikrofest. And of course, the conductor of Harry Partch Ensemble. I mean, he has a lot of prizes. He's a great there are a lot of great people coming from the States this year. It's you never know, and this year is really very focused on American music. So yeah, we are happy about that. That there's a lot of, every time there's a lot of different focuses. Yeah.
Right.
Any more questions around? Sorry, Gertrude, I didn't.
Yeah, no. Okay. That's okay. So I wonder whether there are any more questions. Oh, Soran, I see you again. Interesting when I can hear the Tibetan bow music piece of yours, your performance. Luke, yeah, thank you very much. What are we going to do? Are we going to having a break and